Alright, so I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of looking at a dirty engine bay, so I went ahead and cleaned it for you. Actually, cleaned it for me. And here we go. This is a clean engine bay. I just spent like the last 3 hours just wiping everything down and getting into all the cricks and crannies of everything. I even semi-polished my headlights, so now they look really, really good. There you go, semi-polished headlights. I even installed my hood latch, run my line and everything too. So here's the HID headlights. The original OEM HID headlights. And there's proof right there. Gotta have that to be HID. And also, let's see, I got the oil cooler kind of semi-rigged up, or at least in the position I want it. It's going to be hanging kind of vertical, like so. Oil cooler came with a relocation kit for the oil filter as well, and it goes all the way over here, and it wraps around this way, and there it is. And there it is. There's the sandwich plate, and it's a pretty good sandwich plate. It's also got 2 bolts on it that I think are the 1/8 inch size threads, and it'll allow you for say like do a tap for a turbo, oil turbo. Well, it'll be a here you go. So on the other side, the line comes that way, comes this way. I know it's just hanging out right now, but it'll definitely be braced or strapped down somehow later. And here it is, the oil sandwich plate. And it's also got 2, where's that? I don't see yours. Might not be on this. I'll be over here. Let me see. Actually, here it is. So that's the sandwich plate, and then this one's got oil temp. You can put the oil temp sensor in here. And you can also put a oil pressure in here too. So it's also a good thing to have. Oil pressure, oil temp right before it goes back. So, do that again. So as you're coming around this way, actually, start over here. It's a pretty cool kit. So the relocation kit actually has a lot of different things on it as well. So just kind of let you guys see what's going on. I've put the filter here, which will make it really accessible from the bottom, and it'll make oil changes a lot easier. And for anybody that knows a B series, it's kind of a pain in the ass to do an oil filter change. So now I have an oil filter changer, a bracket here that holds it right here, and as you see, there's nothing below it, so it'll make oil changes like a simple thing. The oil cooler is just sitting over here, just like so. Sits like that, right after the radiator. And I still gotta build some brackets. Still gotta go to the metal shop and buy all the metal pieces. But anyways, you got your incoming line, which is this one, and the actually, you know what? No, incoming line from the pump, from the engine, comes in here, cools it off, goes to the bottom, routes back. It comes into this one, and then from this one it goes back to the engine. And then a cool feature is they actually have these ports right here via these knobs, these bolts right here that can turn in and out. And you can put an oil pressure sensor right there, or you can also put a just an oil temp sensor as well. So you could do 2, and you could also run it for a turbo feed if you want, which is probably what I'm going to do. I'll probably run the turbo feed line right off of that, and it'll go back to the turbo. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so another idea was, here's the fuel system. Nice and clean now. Fuel system. I think it's a size 8N, -8N hose. It's supposed to go in, and it'll run this way underneath all this stuff. Come over, and it'll have like a fuel pump on back that way, which I still gotta install. But the fuel pump pumps. It's gonna be a 255 Wabro. and it pumps up to a fuel filter, and then it'll come something like this. I'll probably build a bracket to hold the fuel line as it's coming through, and I'll probably use that point, and I'll probably use that point on the intake manifold to hold it in place, and it'll feed into that. Fuel rail, that's blocked off. It'll be regulated by the AEM regulator, and of course it's gonna dump via that little port right there, and it'll go right back that way. So that's the fuel system. Like I said before, these 4 that are in here, these are the Injector Dynamics 1000 cc injectors, and of course we got a Aeromotive fuel pressure gauge right on the fuel rail to monitor things. Okay. We also got a oil catch can. I custom made it. I had this one company custom make it for me. I forgot what it was called, but their logo is actually right on the bottom. Let's see. There you go. There's the logo for the company, and bunch of nice guys though. This wasn't a off-the-shelf item, even when it was listed on their the product page as well. And I had to email a couple guys, and usually they do a dual port right here. Usually their dual ports are zoom in for you. Here we go. Usually their dual ports canisters are up and down, but I requested them to build 2 that are side by side, and the guy said, yeah, that's no problem. There's no additional charge for that. And then he drew me a schematic, sent it to me, and I okayed it. So I always thought it was pretty cool. Most people won't even do that for you. Let's see what else. I think that's about it for today. What else did I do? Oh yeah, I tried to run the old wiring from the Integra, and it turns out more than half of these connectors I'm not even going to use. So, like for example, this on this side there's let's see, there's a water bottle that used to be there, a windshield washer bottle actually used to be there. That's gonna get relocated. It's gonna get relocated to the back, and also there's a cruise control that sits right here. I'm not using cruise control no more, so half these like 3 of these connectors are now useless. And on the other side, it's even worse. Let me show you the other side. It's I didn't even put the harness in yet because the ECU is going to be on the inside, and there used to be a fuse box right here, and that fuse box is going to go on the inside as well. So a lot of those wires are gone, and as the harness comes out from the old Integra, there's the distributor connections, the engine. Oh yeah, I think it attaches to an engine harness, and I'm not even running half of those connections no more. So like little things like, oh yeah, forgot the ABS is right here. Well, it used to be right here. That's gone. I'm not running ABS. And it's also got lines for radiator, and it's got lines for AC, which was on this side as well. Nope, not running those. So more than half of those connectors not there no more either. So I'm just gonna reuse the connectors that I need, and I'm gonna run a custom length wires. I know that I need to run power to the starters, and that has to be a high gauge wire. I know the alternator wire, which actually runs right through this black tube already, ends right in the dash. So I got 2 options. If I really wanted it to be like a race car setup, I'd put the battery in the back. But if it's going to be in the back, I have to extend wires. And from what I've been reading, you do not want to split a wire that'll go to the alternator and the starter. You want dedicated lines. So I might have to run 2 lines directly from the back, right in the back, in that corner of the car, run it all the way forward, just so I can have a starter and alternator. Or I can just put the battery right underneath the, maybe even right behind the passenger seat over here. And I know I only cleaned half the windshield, but I did a pretty good job. I think I was pretty proud of myself. And yeah, like if this is how the motor engine is gonna sit right now. You won't see much more change after this from this view right here. All the wires are tucked like I said, and the only thing that's missing is on this side. That's why this side is still very very spacious, you can say, because there's going to be a turbo manifold and a turbo that sits on this side, and I have to still figure that out. But in the meantime, that's what I have. I did have to put my 16-inch SSRs back on because the 17s were too big, and my coilovers were set on maximum drop, and I couldn't move the car back and forth. So plans are we're going to have to modify this guy somehow. We're going to have to get more space on this side and more space on this side, and same thing goes for that side. More space on that side and more space on that side. We're probably going to have to modify that mount. Let's talk to Hybrid, and he's agreed with me we have to modify that in order to tuck the 255 by 40 by 17-inch tires. And we do want the car to look good. That's kind of a priority. And on top of that, it's got to work properly too. So I figured we're going to give it about 1.5 inches of travel on the shock with the car looking really, really good the way it's supposed to. And we'll see how that turns out. I'm starting to put stuff back in right now, as you can see, and everything is starting to line up really well. And let's see, some of the little problems that I'm seeing is just clearance issues like this. I'm not going to be able to, that's like what, 3 little fingers right there. So I'm going to have to shorten that or something so I could do like a 90-degree bend. I could always cut it and just re-weld it 90, and that should work. Let's see, transmissions. We got 3 sensors on there. We got a sensor on the bottom. Let me see, yep. Sensors on the bottom on this side. Another sensor right here. Another plug right there, and another plug on top. I have to figure out what those plugs are, and then have to run that into the harness as well. I think this one's the speed sensor. I think that one right there. I think that's a speed sensor. I think this is a reverse sensor, and I think, or that could be a reverse sensor right here. One of these is a reverse sensor, and the other one, it might just be like a gear sensor, or like what gear you're in type of sensor. I'm not sure yet, but I have to do some research on that. And so far, the car turned out really nice. I really like what it's doing right now. And on the next episode, it's probably gonna be cutting, pipes. Probably retrofitting a bunch of other stuff, and we're gonna get into the interior as well. A lot of goodies in the interior that hasn't been shown to you guys. And of course, I bought the wrong fuel line right there, the 6 ANN. It does not plug up to the 8 AN fittings, so I have to go buy another. I think probably 4 or 5 feet of it, and it should be okay after that. I gotta run the wiring, like I said, the custom wiring. Also gotta run a custom harness for the headlights, because the USDM does not come with a harness for the headlights, for at least the fog lights. And I want one switch to turn on the front 2 fog lights and the rear fog light, which you guys haven't seen yet. Yes, we're running a European fog light as well in the rear. So we still gotta do that. There's a lot of wiring coming up, and this thing may look pretty right now, but it's like it's not really done yet. All the bolts are somewhat tightened down and test fitted only. Still gotta build a lot of brackets, and still gotta spray paint a lot of stuff. Like for example, that you can't have rust on this car. That's gonna get spray painted or replaced or tucked or whatever I gotta do. And we'll go from there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Share and like as well.